Right now, everyone wants to figure out Marathon. Why Extraction? What makes it stand out? And does Bungie actually get it? I've had the privilege and honor of going to Bungie to play Marathon and attend playtests where I've already sunk a ridiculous amount of time into the game, all in pursuit of providing feedback and finding the necessary answers to those questions for myself. As an extraction shooter, Marathon follows a traditional gameplay loop you'd expect from the genre. Go on runs, find loot, complete contracts for bonuses, and get out alive. Doing so successfully makes you stronger, keeping what you found and simultaneously upping the stakes, given that you risk losing your gear on death. The magic of the genre happens in the fact that you're doing this all within a world you don't own. You'll face friction from challenging enemies, harsh conditions, and most importantly, pursuing tasks alongside other like-minded players who likely want to take your findings for themselves. This comes together in the most perfect way. High stakes and mystery produces tension and anxiety, making even the most basic tasks feel far more thrilling. Overcoming adversity or satiating bloodlust is a rush, tempting you to continue dancing with danger. Encountering rare items feels like winning the lottery. The vast array and intensity of emotions creates memorable moments, with each run becoming its own story. While Marathon aims to deliver on this, I couldn't come to terms with one thing. I want to play how I want. Sure, the spikes of emotions are real, but I felt the genre didn't often satisfy my drive for individual expression and mastery, the very things that had me fall in love with Halo and Destiny. I was eager to experience the sandbox and form bonds with different weapons, but it's difficult for me to grasp not being able to use what I like rather than what I find. Losing everything on death seemed to work against my goal of mastering a specifically crafted playstyle. Runners appeared to bring a bit of balance to that. They feel like they embodied some of Bungie's playstyle dynamics from previous games, offering me a place to develop mastery that was persistent beyond deaths. I felt like they represented general playstyles well enough without being overly niche or too, I'm gonna say it, hero-y. There's an easy to understand generalist, an agility specialist, stealth, and recon option, each with a standout prime and tactical cast ability and 2 more passive characteristics to complement them. Being a longtime Destiny player, these reminded me of the structure behind Destiny 2's early skill trees, offering the framework of different playstyles and the opportunity to choose which I best identify with. Being a solid set of abilities or traits, runners aren't free from criticism from players seeking something similar to me, developing a unique playstyle and personal expression around that. While I do believe runners are a foundation that can, at least in part, satisfy my craving to develop mastery, they don't fully deliver on individual expression. After all, 2 players choosing to play the stealth class Void are still playing the same class. This is where I believe Marathon sets itself apart. Build crafting. Being able to augment or specialize your runner, feel the weight behind your decisions, and multiple parts moving in tandem. This is that personal expression, where you're able to take a framework and refine it a little bit more into a bit more of a distinct playstyle. In my time playing, I was able to tailor my runner to what I felt was most valuable, tweaked it to feel to my liking, and even add some cool perks or minigames for a stronger gameplay loop. Each runner has a set of stats that help give them a bit more character, but these are more important to recognize as levers that provide depth for your build choices and often alter how your runner feels. There's self-repair speed, which increases the speed you passively recover health and shields. Agility, that increases your movement speed and jump height. Heat capacity, which increases the number of movement actions like sprinting or sliding that you can perform before overheating. Hardware and firewall provide resistance against 2 different sets of debuffs. Finisher Siphon increases the amount of shields you regain after doing a finisher. Loot speed increases how quickly items are revealed while looting containers, and revive speed increases how quickly you can revive not only downed allies, but yourself with a self-revive consumable. Some additional stats that for whatever reason are currently not shown are tactical ability regen rate, prime ability regen rate, ping duration, fall damage reduction, and melee damage. Implants are the primary way of increasing and altering these stats, with the higher quality, across the spectrum of gray, green, blue, purple, and gold, having the most potent effects. To name just a few example implants, Distance Runner, increase your heat capacity so you can maximize on movement or traversal, Hot Swap increases your weapon handling and ADS in addition to your ping duration, and Energy Harvesting increases your tactical ability recovery stat, which will reduce your cooldown on that ability. At the highest end, gold implants also introduced added functionality. The gold nimble fingers I got not only gave plus 50 to loot speed, but also plus 5 agility and increased hipfire accuracy and control. Cores are a separate part of your build that add passive perks that can augment your abilities and feel like a noticeable addition to your gameplay loop. Edgerunner was a simple yet favored one of mine, getting even faster movement speed with your knife out than the standard bonus. Counter Intel helped with awareness, pinging an enemy that breaks your shields. Another core that I'm forgetting the name of gave movement speed after breaking an enemy's shields, which is great for gap closing and capitalizing on an advantage. At the most powerful end, there were gold cores unique to runners. Andrew Witz mentioned at the reveal one for Glitch that gave an additional jump, becoming triple jump. And in my time, I also found 2 gold cores for Glitch, one of which reloaded weapons after sliding, and another that caused the Disruptor arm cannon to have greater effects on top of pinging on hit. These perks and stat modulations offer you the opportunity to think deeper about how some stats synergize with the runner's foundation, and how you might want to accentuate the playstyle that resonates with you. For example, on Blackbird I might want to prioritize the ping duration stat and take counter intel, given that recon and info is a central focus. On Glitch I might want to use distance runners to have more movement capacity along with other movement speed bonuses to really get in people's faces. Or you can take different elements and bring them to a class that doesn't traditionally have them, like movement speed bonuses and agility to Void. You might also want to think more carefully about how each individual thing you're picking plays into one another to better curate your playstyle and enhance your flow. Beyond just cores and implants, shields and backpacks have their own benefits and traits. Of course, weapons are also highly customizable with a wide range of in-depth stats to change according to your values and feels. These aspects of build crafting are found in other extraction games as far as I know, but they still provide additional layers in Marathon. More unique to weapons though are perks that are found in addition to stat bonuses on higher tier weapon mods, like increased accuracy for the first few rounds of a trigger pull, and damaging hostiles grants a burst of sprint speed. Andrew Witz said at the reveal that gold level mods made weapons feel exotic, like in Destiny, strongly augmenting the nature of the weapon. Depth is clearly present, but it fails to answer the concern of being able to get a perfectly crafted build and develop mastery with it. After all, a lot of this is loot which can be lost on death. Luckily, Marathon has a progression system tied to each faction. Contracts find their larger purpose by making progression unlocks available, many of which are persistent stat bonuses independent of death or runner, or ways to soften the blow and have easier access to the build you want after a death. Upgrades make build components available for purchase on the black market, so having a baseline build for your playstyle is far more readily accessible. Upgrades are bound to take time to unlock though, and that's where Marathon's already a step ahead, having different build components being tied to specific locations on the map. As an example from Barebones, I'd often start at field maintenance as that's where weapons are most commonly found. From there I prioritize other locations based on what I wanted most in my build. Given that all this information is found on the map, you can form routes to put together a build you're satisfied with. And I found Marathon was pretty generous with build components. In my time at Bungie alone, I had 2 to 3 full builds as backups in my vault, so I was continuously ready to dive in. Marathon takes welcome concepts that I love and puts them into a new context that I don't believe has experienced them. As someone that's not traditionally an extraction player, it's had me take the plunge and fall in love. Bungie's core foundation of weapons, grenades, and melees has given them a proven pedigree in creating rich sandboxes and exciting combat that you can learn and master. Build crafting is the glue that binds everything together to express said mastery and individuality. Introducing this to the extraction genre is exactly what's made Marathon different to me. Runners create that consistent baseline to master, and build crafting gives loot context, provides me motivation to keep playing. Where Marathon might lack Tarkov-like friction, it makes up for it with build crafting depth that feels good and allows for personal expression. Progression and map knowledge creates avenues to consistent builds. And finally, to put your build and mastery to the test, you take it into ranked, completing a gameplay loop that I feel I'm ready to get lost in.